Hello, and this is Natsuya Uesugi, and we have a new character profile today. Today, we're going to talk about Sati Ima, who is a psychic assassin and mobile frame pilot. Sati's name means Sati is a form of sudden enlightenment, and Ima means now in Japanese, and so Sati's name means enlightenment now, and actually, that was the name that I channeled when I created Sati as a character. Sati is a mobile frame pilot for the Pacific Territories. He was formerly in the Pacific Territories Air Force. He was at one point stationed on the battleship Escalon during the fight for the homeland at Lundis with the Atlantia Federation when the Pacific Territories attacked, and he was also stationed on the La Paz space station later in the grydscaen series. Sati Ima is a test subject for the Psi faction, and he trained there as a child. His father, Saito Ima, he has an older brother named Sato. Sati is has a level 100 psychic status. That is his level. Levels in the military are not usually discussed, but Sati is one of the highest level of psychic ever enlisted in the Pacific Territories military. So next we're going to get into some of Sati's stats. His affiliation with the Pacific Territories Air Force. He's a Psi faction mobile frame pilot. He's also a clandestine psychic assassin, so he is part of the Psi faction Psycho Force, which is under Galen Allred. His energy power is a damper, which means that he can absorb the energy of other psychics. So if somebody sends a psychic attack, he can absorb that energy, transmute it, and send it back, or he can absorb it into his cells and dissolve it based on the level of energy that is being sent. He is a transgender male. He was operated on by the military, who determined that he needed to remove gender from his issue so that he could be the highest level of psychic assassin like Blue, and that is one of the criteria. He's Psi level 100. He has skill to acquire and neutralize targets. His commander is Galen Allred. He is an ace fighter pilot, and he also has a clone whose NCEP date was the 22nd year after the war, and his clone is currently on the La Paz space station. Sati is unaware that he was cloned because it was done by the military without his knowledge once when he was undergoing a routine physical exam. Sati's surgery, which he had to make him gender neutral, was basically done with no anesthesia. One of the reasons they did that is they wanted to see the level of pain that Sati could take and record that data. Sati has, due to the age that he had his psi conditioning, he does at times have an unstable mind. His Aegis, or the manifestation of his psychic power, is blue, but when he is having a mental break, it turns orange. And so, that is one of the ways that the military determines psychic's level of stability. Sati Ima is also paired with mobile frame pilot Nathaniel Barjan. They were both on the battleship Escalon together, as well as on the La Paz space station. One of the key things about Sati is that because he is loyal to a fault, although he has a mouth on him and has issues with following authority, he also talks back and can be quite rebellious, but he is loyal. He has gone on more missions than any other clandestine psychic assassin at the Psi faction, and he, during the battle at La Paz, was actually able to save the space station by transmuting a beam cannon that was set off, and Sati actually used too much of his power and was able to transmute that energy and redirect the beam so that it did not hit the station. One of the reasons I created Sati as a character was to talk about mental illness. He does, in the series, have two different situations where he is dealing with high anxiety. Both of them actually are from PTSD from a battle that he has to undergo. And so that was something I wanted to use this character as, because mental health is important in the stigma.